everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and this is my speed version of the March 17th, 2022 Art Joy of Sharing live stream show. And of course, St. Patrick's Day happens to be the Thursday that we happen to be doing the live stream show. That's over on the other channel, Art Joy of Sharing. We also have a art community that goes with that. And we are supposed to still be working on muted tones, hashtag AJOS muted tones. My piece didn't turn out very muted today, but I wanted to try collaging my background with these pieces of mulberry paper that I just got from Amazon. It was like ends and snips of different colored mulberry paper, which is a thin translucent paper that's made out of mulberry fiber, which is some type of a tree. And this was inexpensive. I thought it would be interesting to just, have some of this paper to add to my collage collection. And this is my junk journal. And this particular page on the left-hand side, of course, the signatures are folded. And this piece happens to be the side that is coated on a piece of palette paper. I have this tablet of palette paper and I tear off a piece and I fold them in half, and then I use those to put out my paints when I'm using different types of paints, and mix on that page or pick it up from that page to use. And because it's the coated side, there's no way I would be able to really paint on that. Even if I tried to put a coat of gesso, it would just flake off, because the whole point of palette paper is that it's for using as a palette and you don't want your paint to absorb into it, so it's coated. So I knew that I needed to do something like collage over it. Perfect opportunity to use some of these mulberry papers. So I did. I knew I wanted to use green because I was planning on doing something with St. Patrick's, that idea of the green being the color I needed to use for St. Patrick's. So I thought, well, the complementary color to green is orange, and they look really great together. And so I used some yellows and creams and oranges from that pack of mulberry paper to do my background. And then I had this little piece of striped, it was a scrap of striped scrapbook paper with green and blue stripes that I thought would look cute across the bottom to make something to sit on. And I also had some tissue paper that had a little bit of patterning, and I kind of used that to break up the color blocks. But of course, this bright orange is where I got off track with the muted tones, because it's not a muted tone, it's bright orange, but I just really liked it and I wanted to keep it. So I ended up not really doing muted tones today. But I did want to make like a jar, and I also wanted to show that you can alter colors of papers when you're doing collage by putting a thin paper over the top, and it will mute it down and calm it down and take away blocks of color. That's one way to deal with collage if you're just doing collage and not using any paint at all. So you'll see me bring out this piece of leftover tea bag and put it over that orange and show how you could really mute down that bright color of orange there. I didn't end up doing it, but I was talking about it as I was doing it. So this piece looks like the color of glass. Glass is clear, but then when you really look at it, it has grays and blues and colors in it. And depending on what's behind it or what's inside of it, it can make a difference as to how the glass is perceived. So I was trying to make a mason jar. Not sure how successful I was with my mason jar, but that's what my idea was. And then I was going to put a bouquet of shamrocks in it. The theme for our show today was spring, something to do with spring. And to me, spring means flowers. That's what I get out of it. Like if you tell me spring, I'm going to say flowers every time. So I wanted to do maybe some flowers. My most poignant memory of spring flowers is that when I was growing up, I was always given daffodils on my birthday, which that's a spring flower. So I was thinking about daffodils. I had all this yellow. I was thinking about shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day. And I have kind of a funny story to tell about that. The other day I was making poppies, which is a color that, or a flower that comes out in the spring here in Arizona, California poppies. And I made the wrong leaves to start out with. On the poppies, they have like kind of like the top of a carrot type of a leaf. Different, usually I make these oval shapes or I make these long, thin shapes like I'm doing right now, which that will work for a daffodil. But poppies don't have those type of leaves. And so I had to look up what kind of leaf poppies had. So when I started to do this, I said to myself, those shamrocks, I got to make sure that I have the right shape of leaves when I do the shamrock bouquet. And then it occurred to me that shamrocks are the leaves. The shape of the shamrock is the leaf of the plant. So I just kind of shook my head at myself. That's one of those things that happens to me. So here I am putting another layer of that light blue paper over the top of the other one, because now I've put all the stems and shadows inside there, and I want to mute that down, and I still need it to show. And so mulberry paper or tissue paper, in this case mulberry paper, is great for this because it is semi-translucent. So now you can still see those stems within side of that jar, right? You can still see they're there, so it's not cutting it off as if it wasn't there, but it's muting it or calming it down. So that was kind of my big plan today. It's just to show that. I put more layers of paper to make the little, where the jar screws on top. I realized that my shape is a little bit off. It's too wide at the bottom to be a mason jar. It should have curved down more into kind of like a fat rectangle. But whatever, right? It's some sort of a jar in which a bouquet is put in. It doesn't have to be a mason jar. It could be some other kind of jar with a screw-on lid or something. I don't know. But yeah. So I've got stems, I've got leaves, I've got a jar, and I'm putting a little stem and leaf across the bottom just to kind of balance the composition, bring some of that darker green down to the bottom of the page, and let it drag over to the other side. The other side is a hot tamales box. I like hot tamale cinnamon candy. Some of you might know where that is, some of you might not, but it's like these little gummy, spicy cinnamon candy. And I buy these $1 boxes at the $1 store when I'm there. And sometimes I make them into journals. You've seen me make them into journals. I'll put one of those videos up in the iCard. If you hover over the top on the right hand side corner, you'll see something you can click on. I always put those in my videos just in case. I try to find something that's similar that you might want to watch if you're watching this video. So I'll try to find one of those where I've made a hot tamales box into a little mini journal. I like to do that. That's fun. Making journals is a different activity than filling journals. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it because I have so many half-done, half-filled journals because I just want to make another one, and it's fun. I want to make them, so I don't fill them as much as I make them. So now with my collage, I've started to put in the shamrocks, and shamrocks have kind of a heart-shaped leaf that comes together like hearts, usually 3 heart-shaped leaves attached to a skinny stem. And I did a couple with 3, but then I did one with 4 because the whole idea is the 4-leaf clover makes you lucky. On St. Patrick's Day, you might want luck. And so finding a 4-leaf clover, super lucky. And then I also added in daffodils made out of different colors of yellow and orange. I've got a lot of yellow orange in the background, so it all flows together. And I have lots of baskets full of sorted painty papers that are different colors, and I grabbed the yellows and the oranges baskets as well as the green. Have different colors of green, different pattern on there, different colors of yellow, different colors of orange. And it just all makes for something pleasing that has visual texture and also flows together in color. And I think it looks happy and like spring. Plus we've got the shamrock element. So I'm using Liquitex matte gel medium to glue all this stuff down from the background all the way to the top parts. I'm cutting out the pieces with scissors and then gluing them down. I'm not doing any tearing really. I did a little bit of tearing on the pieces that I put in the background, but mostly I'm cutting out the pieces into the shapes I want with scissors and then gluing them down, pressing them down, getting some glue underneath, pressing the paper. These are all thin papers, so I'm not I'm not putting the paper upside down on the side there and putting glue on the back of it as well as on the substrate. I'm just putting the glue on the substrate, which is the book, and then pressing the paper into it and then pushing down with my brush and applying another coat of medium over the top as I'm pushing down to make sure that there aren't any, bubbles or creases as much as possible. There's a big crease on the right hand side because that's the flaps of the box that is the page is made out of. Remember, this journal is made out of junk. It is just junk. So papers with writing, boxes, leftover palette papers, just whatever was handy. And I made it into this journal, which I've been enjoying playing with in the mornings. Not every day. I intended to do it every day and have a calming, peaceful, serene time each morning before I start my day, but I haven't actually managed to do that since my mother had surgery and stuff like that. I've been busy, 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 busy with lots of things. And now I have company, so I'll be having company off and on for most of the rest of the month. People visiting, my kid from California, my best friend from Oregon, and my kid's girlfriend is coming along, so she'll be here too, and I'll be busy. So I'm almost done with my collage. I'll be done just very quickly. Two of my daffodils had yellow petals with an orange center, and one of them had orange petals with a yellow center. Because why not? I've seen lots of different daffodils. I think sometimes they're called jonquils also, which is kind of the same similar type of a flower. And some of them are white with a yellow center. Some of them are they have a really dark center and a really light outside, where some of them are all kind of the same color, like all yellow. So I thought I had the opportunity to be random. So here I am showing how I could really mute down that super bright orange area with that tea paper, or I could put a glaze over it to mute it down. Because remember, we're still talking about having a muted palette instead of a super bright palette. But as you guys know who've been watching me for a long time, I like a bright palette, and I just couldn't bring myself to mute this down today. I just liked it, that it was bright. I didn't want to mute it. So now I've got my Pitt pens. These are India ink pens made by Faber-Castell. And I'm adding them, blending a little bit, softening the line with a water brush, and just adding some shading and illustrative lines to the outsides of my collage. In some places, I decided that the center of that one over there was too long, so I tore some of it off. You can still do that. It doesn't tear completely cleanly, but it worked. Then putting some darker green around the outside of the shamrock petals, or leaves, as the case may be. It's not really a flower, is it? It's a leaf. Then some blue onto the jar and adding a little shading around that too, just to give it more presence on the page, separate it from the background a little bit, because the background and the foreground are very similar colors in this case, which, you know, might make it a little bit harder to see what's going on. So I do need to add that little bit of shading quickly. And then I also used a white pen, a paint pen, to make some dots for my highlights. Instead of making lines and blending them in, I just made dots. And it's a fatter Posca pen that has like a, oh, first I did do a little bit of glazing, not much. It really wasn't having that much of an effect, so I just stopped and said, you know what, I'm not going to mute this. I'm just going to keep it like it is mostly. I mean, it changed it slightly, but not a whole lot. So just mostly in the center area where that tissue paper was is where I got most of the muting. Didn't change the orange at all. That particular glaze did not. So I would have had to mix something, and I just, I'm not into it. So then I was looking for something to put on the page, and I had out this pack of book lines, and I found this one that was the definition of lucky, and I thought that should go on there. And then I decided, here's where I'm putting my highlights on. Then I decided to just stamp a message on the right-hand side of the page with some stamps. So I got out some alphabet stamps. Those are from Stampin' Up! From a long time ago. I doubt they still have them, but you might be able to find them on eBay. Sometimes people sell their retired stamps on eBay. So there's my little white dot highlights real quick. And then I'm going to use a dark green ink pad, VersaFine Clair. That is a supposedly quick drying pigment ink, so it's a permanent, light, fast ink. I don't think it's particularly quick drying, but they say it is. I've always had a love-hate relationship with pigment ink because I am an impatient person and I like things to dry quickly. So I bought these because they said they were quick drying, but it still takes longer to dry than dye-based ink. But it also is permanent. So, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. So my words say happy and blessed St. Patrick's Day, and I hope that is exactly what you have, whether you're celebrating with any type of Irish traditions or not. I hope that your day is happy and blessed. So that's pretty much it for me. Please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notification bells. And of course, you can join the channel membership for $1.99 a month and get exclusive content that is only available for members of my channel on the 15th of every month. So I guess I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.